Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be filming a wedding budget how-to. If you are a young adult or even an older adult and you are struggling with your wedding budget, I would like to help. I am here to tell you how to make and how to keep a wedding budget. I got engaged in February 2017 and we will be getting married in March 2018, just 2 months away. And I have learned so much about budgeting in this time that I have been engaged. And this is the same formula I kind of follow for traveling as well. I kind of budget in the same way. And of course everybody's budgeting is going to be different, so I mean I have some tips and tricks to how you can kind of keep your budget if you already know how to make your budget, but I want to make this really fun for you guys and it should be an awesome video. I remember budgeting, it's scary, like let's be honest, money, that's some scary stuff, and especially when it comes to a wedding, you're expected to do it the way everybody wants it, and that can cost a lot of money. And in this video, I just want to encourage you to pursue what you want to do for your wedding and not what everybody else wants you to do, because that's what I had to do. And honestly, sometimes it really sucks. Like, we're getting married in Orlando and almost everybody is traveling to be with us, but sometimes people know I'm a young girl who just graduated college and maybe I don't have a ton of money to spend on a wedding, but I'm happy to get married and I'm really excited, so I'm gonna make the most of what I have. So basically that's just what I wanted to kind of tell you today, was how I created my wedding budget and how I've been able to keep it so far running up to the wedding. So let's get started. You guys are about to see something I do not show many people, and that is my wedding notebook. This thing is literally what I use for everything wedding planning. I have my budget in here, my guest list, my caterers, my venue information. I have receipts from my florist. I have receipts from when I paid for my cake. I have receipts from the venue. I have marriage counseling stuff in here. I have literally everything. But the biggest thing that we're talking about is budget. So this is my page for budget. It's a lot of stuff. So basically how I set up my budget when it came to my wedding was I started with how much money my mom, my dad, Blake's mom, everybody else was gonna give us. So I listed that at the top of the page. And then after that, I started listing everything individually for exactly what I knew I was going to need. And realistically, unless you've helped plan a wedding before or unless you are very knowledgeable about weddings, it's not going to be 100% accurate, but it can definitely be pretty close, and that's what I tried my best to do here. I kind of looked on Pinterest, I looked at different things for how much money I could ideally spend and how much I would want to spend, and that's how much I put down. And I'll say right now, the flowers were the most expensive thing that I was not prepared for. Well, I guess I was prepared for it, but I was hoping I could find a way around spending that much money, but my florist really worked with me and helped me a lot. It's just that flowers are very expensive, and I would just say make sure you leave some extra room for the flowers, if you know what I'm saying, girl. So basically the biggest thing first off was the venue, and venues can be really, really expensive. So what we did was we decided to, my neighbors are awkwardly walking by. Anyway, oh, they just stared at me. Anyway, we knew exactly which venue we wanted. We had seen it at a church event like a year prior to actually picking it as our wedding venue. But basically it's a state-owned facility, so it's a museum actually. But the good thing about going with like public or like state venues is that they're actually usually cheaper than going with a private or like small business venue. And I hate to say that because I love supporting small businesses, but the venue is something that I just could not afford to go higher than like $1,500 with. And basically with the Winter Park Farmers Market, that's exactly how much we spent, like $1,700 or something like that. And that was like actually crazy cheap for a wedding venue. And with private places like, or public places like that, like state-owned places like that, they usually provide chairs and tables and stuff that are really easy to take and use. And that was something that was really beneficial for us, because spending money for rentals on chairs and everything else is just, it really adds up a ton. So that's what we wanted to really save money on when we were booking our venue. And that's what we did with the Winter Park Farmers Market. So that was huge help for us. So the venue was the first thing I listed down and I wanted to look at. So I wrote down the price of the venue and the price of the deposit, and then I just listed everything else after that. So I'll just tell you what I have. I have the dress, I have my accessories, I have the groom's tux, our rings, I have our engagement pictures, our food. I also included, for when we moved our apartment, I included our move-in truck and our first month's rent and our deposit. I included the flowers, the decorations, wedding night hotel if you wanted to do that, cake, videographer, hair and makeup, bridesmaids gifts, groomsmen's gifts, gifts for guests or favors, our photographer. And then as far as our honeymoon goes, we had to list that, our invitations and save the dates, our drinks. And then when we come back from our honeymoon, we're gonna need money for our April rent and our groceries. So I had to list that all as well. So basically how I did it was I talked to my parents, I talked to Blake's parents, and we kind of figured out exactly what everybody was gonna pay for. And it worked out that my dad and my stepmom helped pay for my venue. My mom and my stepdad helped pay for my dress and our food. And have just been, all of our parents have just been really generous with the money when it comes to saving for the wedding. But when we figured out our date for the wedding, we looked at the budget and I divided the budget that was left after subtracting the money from our parents. I divided that by the months that we had till the wedding, and that was what we were supposed to save every month. And we did pretty good with it. We had a couple of bumps in the road, which is expected, but I would say if you're gonna do a budget like this, do not include Christmas money, birthday money, shower money, any kind of money like that in your head, because realistically, sometimes those things don't work out exactly how you're planning to. And I didn't want to like budget like, okay, I'm gonna get $200 for Christmas, I'm gonna get $200 for my birthday, so I don't really have to plan for that, because what if I didn't get that money and then I hadn't saved in the past? So I just didn't want to include that. And then when you do get that, it's like an extra bonus. Just like I'm really looking forward to my tax return this year, because I get to put it towards the wedding, I get to put it towards the honeymoon, and I get to put it towards our future dog and everything else. So that really worked out, but I didn't want to include it in my budget because I didn't know exactly how much it's going to be. And I still don't know exactly how much it's going to be. So I would say leave those out and just try to focus on exactly what you need to pay for and when. And that's what I tried to do. Another thing that you can use for your budget is if you have a wedding checklist, which you can find on Pinterest or Google or anything else, that'll tell you exactly what you need to have every month. So it starts with like the first thing, which is your deposit for your venue, which is like the most important thing. So you want to pay for that. And then like the dress, if you're getting like an actual dress from a retailer, usually takes, you know, the return time can vary depending on how many jewels or how many, like, whatever you have on your dress. My dress was supposed to take 8 months, and we had 13 months between our engagement and our wedding. So I went really quickly after we got engaged to get my dress, and luckily my dress actually got here quicker than expected, and I'm going to get it altered this weekend. But that's one of the first things on the list. So the checklist really helps because you can just go through and you can look at exactly what you need to pay for each month, and that'll help you stick to your budget. Because if you know I need to save $400 a month, $400 a month, $400 a month, and this month I need flowers, the next month I need to put money towards the honeymoon, next month I need to put money towards our rent, that'll definitely help you keep track of exactly what you need and when. So I would definitely suggest that. So now that we've talked about how to make a budget, which by the way, this budget works the same exact way for travel. I do it the exact same way. I'll list exactly everything we need to pay for. So like the hotel, the flight, I'm drawing a blank. Our food, our activities, everything, I will list it exactly like that, and then I'll plan exactly how long we want to wait before we take the trip, and then I'll divide it by the number of months, exactly how much we need to save. And that worked really well for me when we went to California, and I had just had like one job at the time, and then I got another job, but I budgeted so that I only had to save $6 a week, and that actually worked out really well. And I got to go to California, and it was the first trip I ever paid for by myself, and I was really proud of it. So I would definitely recommend, if you're traveling, to use the same method. Just kind of list exactly everything that you need, and then you're just going to want to divide it by the number of months that you have until you go. So that's exactly how I did it. So I have some tips and tricks as far as keeping a budget goes, and I've actually been asked this a ton of times, which is why I really wanted to make this video. Does anybody else have like a weird thing about having hair in their face? Like, anyway, I've been asked this so many times about how to keep a budget, how I'm able to afford a wedding with my job, and with just graduating college. I've been in college the majority of the time that we've been engaged, and how I've been able to save money for a wedding, and that's exactly what I want to share with you guys today. So here we go. So the first thing that I would recommend is that you check out any cashback sites. I like to use Ebates. It's my favorite site for cashback, and it's been so beneficial when it comes to getting married and planning for a wedding. So it's just ebates.com, and I'll link it down in the description box below. But basically it has, you can look in the search bar, and you can type in exactly what you're looking for, or exactly which company you're looking to buy from, and it will give you the rundown of exactly how much cash back you can get from that venue. And I used it for our save the dates, I used it for my invitations, I used it for, what else did I use it for the wedding? I used it for a lot of purchases from Amazon, like I bought flower crowns for my bridesmaids. I used it for, I got fairy lights for our centerpieces off of Amazon. So many things. Ebates is honestly just the best, and they send you a check in the mail, so I would definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't already. You don't even have to be getting married to use it, because it's a really good tool to use if you're shopping online, and now it actually works if you're shopping in the store, so I would definitely recommend checking it out. The next thing I would say is limit your guests. And honestly, that is one of the hardest things to do. And trust me, I am Cuban. My dad's family I have so many cousins, I honestly don't even know what the number is anymore, because I just have them everywhere. Limit your guests. Like, I cannot say it enough times. This is your wedding. It's not your parents' wedding, it's not your friend's wedding, it's not anybody's wedding, it's your wedding. And really, if you're concerned about budget, and you're doing everything you can to get married, just have the people that you really want close to you there. That's all that really matters, is that you feel happy, and your significant other feels happy. That's all that matters at the end of the day, is that you guys had an amazing time, and that you feel like blessed and special at the end of your wedding. And that's like my hope for you, if you guys are getting married, or will be getting married in the future, is that it's just such a beautiful day. And honestly, having too many guests can really distract from that, because you're just so preoccupied with making everybody happy that you cannot, it's difficult to keep track of your happiness yourself. So when it came to the guest list, it's really hard, I'm not gonna lie, to cut down the guest list. We had to, for us with our venue, it actually helped, because we had to keep it at 110 guests. And what we did was we had to list all of our family, all of our friends that we had to have there. And then after that, that was it. We could not just keep adding. And it's sad, because there are people at work I'd love to have there. There's people Blake would love to have there, but sometimes you just, in reality, people think like, oh, a wedding, like, I'll just come, it'll be so much fun, like, oh, I'm not gonna be too expensive, you can just like squeeze me into a table. But like with the guests comes their food, their favors, their drinks. Like if you're doing sparklers or anything like that, that's a lot of money that adds up at the end of the day. And that's something that I really had to keep in mind. Okay, my camera just shut off there, so I don't know what exactly I recorded, but hopefully it's all good because I'm moving on to the next thing that I have in store for you. So my next tip when it comes to saving for your wedding and keeping your budget is piggy banks. As crazy as it sounds, piggy banks are so helpful. Like, this one's not very full right now, but we have a piggy bank for just coins that we keep, and then we have a piggy bank. This has been thrown around a lot for different things recently, or like in the past we've used it for California for like moving money, for all that stuff. But we use this one just to put like dollar bills. Anytime I find them, I keep them in here. Anytime I have some extra money in my pocket, I'll put them in here. And these are things that I just try not to use, like, unless it's for an absolute emergency, but so I can keep saving for the things that I am hoping to save money for. So I would say these are really awesome to use. And then I just have one more that my stepbrother gave me for Christmas, and it's like it's just a jar as well that you can use to put money inside of. But these just, you can have them around your house, and anytime you like are cleaning and you find some spare change, you can just put it inside, and you'll honestly be so surprised at how quickly stuff adds up. Like when we just this one time, it was like probably like this full. It wasn't even that full, and it had like $70 inside. So as insignificant as change seems sometimes, it can add up to be a lot of money. That's a really great thing to use for keeping your budget. My next word of advice when it comes to keeping your wedding budget is to upcycle like crazy. I cannot express this enough. Upcycling, like, you can get stuff from Goodwill, from flea markets, from let me see. You can go on Facebook and you can find wedding resale groups where people from previous like weddings are selling their decorations now, because I mean, I'm gonna do that too, because what are you gonna need these decorations for after you get married? So that can save you so much money. So I have a few examples of what I've gotten so far off of actually I've gotten most of these from Goodwill, so I'm gonna show you these real quick. So this is just a regular mason jar that we spray painted, and I'm gonna make a separate video on this because this is actually kind of what our centerpieces are gonna be like, is a lot of mason jars. So in this one I just put some baby's breath inside, but you can get these for like 60-70 cents at Goodwill, and you can also get them pretty cheap at like on wedding resale sites where people are just trying to get rid of all the mason jars that they've bought. So I got this one, and it's honestly, I don't know, just buying from Goodwill, it's not only like financially good, but it also is environmentally good, and like upcycling all these things just really helps with the budget and also with the environment. So I would recommend checking out some of those places. The next thing I got were these picture frames, and I think I got them for like $1 or $2 each at Goodwill, but they're like actual picture frames. Like, they're not like the cheap kind, you know, that you can buy at Walmart or Target and that are just kind of really flimsy, but they're like actual picture frames. And for our wedding, we're doing a lot of pictures because our theme is travel. So we're doing a lot of pictures of where we've traveled so far. So I needed a ton of like different picture frames to put on the tables, and going to buy like actual ones would have cost like $10 or $15 a piece for picture frames from what I found. Some of them are a little bit cheaper, but like I said, a little bit flimsier. So it would definitely help to go to Goodwill and pick up some picture frames. The last thing I bought from Goodwill was actually something that's probably going to surprise a lot of people, but it was my wedding veil. So this wedding veil actually, that looked just like this at the bridal shop where I got my dress, cost about $50, and at Goodwill it cost $3. And I am not kidding when I say this veil is in literally like it's in perfect condition. It hasn't faded, it hasn't gotten yellowed. It's like a gorgeous white color, and it has all these really, really, really pretty like detailing on the side. And I just thought it was perfect because, I don't know, I have something weird about buying a dress from Goodwill, which if you do that, that's totally cool and that's your thing. But I could not, I don't know, I have a weird thing about buying a dress from Goodwill. When it came to like the veil, I was like really excited to get this veil for $3, especially after they offered it to me at the bridal studio for like $50. So Goodwill can really save you some money when it comes to your wedding. I'm just saying. And then the last thing I have to show you as far as upcycling goes is this mason jar. And hold on, let me turn the candle on really quick. Oh jeez. This mason jar is actually from my dad and my stepmom's wedding a few years back, and I just think it's so cool that I'm gonna incorporate it. I'll probably put it on like my guest sign-in table, or like maybe our Mr. and Mrs. table, something cool, so that I have something of them there. But also it's like upcycling because this was from their wedding, and now I'm gonna be able to use it again and put it to good use as far as my decorations go. I've got a really bad itch on my nose. Anyway, so I'm really excited to use this and reincorporate it in a new way into a new wedding. So that's gonna be really cool and exciting. So yeah, upcycling is just such a great way to go. My next thing that I would recommend is, this is gonna sound so silly, but use things that you already have. And in my case, like I didn't really have a lot of things for the wedding per se, but I knew that as far as my theme went, I had a ton of pictures of travel. I had a ton of ideas for travel, and it was just something that could be managed very easily, and I had a ton of ideas ready to go. So if you have something that you know you can work with really well, or if you have a ton of like, I don't know, roses and you really want to do a Beauty and the Beast themed wedding, I would say work with that, because you already have so much at your disposal that you can use for your wedding, and it will help you save so much money and help you stick to that budget. So that's definitely another word of advice I would pass along to you and share with you all today. And then lastly, which I kind of touched on before, is always, always, always make sure you are doing this wedding for you and not for anybody else, because at the end of the day, you and your fiance are the only ones whose happiness from that particular wedding matters. So make sure that what you're doing as far as your budget goes and everything else is like, at the end of the day, it's gonna make you happy, but at the end of the day, it's also going to help you feel happy that you are not breaking the bank and that you have money left in your bank account after the wedding. So that is my last piece of advice for you, is just remember that this is your wedding and it's not anybody else's. So yeah, there's going to be some things that you have to say no to, but that's more than okay, and you should never, never, ever, ever, ever feel guilty about it. So good luck out there, guys. I hope you learn something from this video. I hope you can take something away from this video, and just let me know if you have any other questions about weddings that I can answer for you, or about what I've done or what I should have done better, or anything else. I do have some more wedding videos coming soon, but thank you so much for checking out my video, and I hope to see you really, 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 really soon. Goodbye! Hello everyone, happy Tuesday! So we knew exactly how we wanted, which venue we wanted, and is this recording? So I would recommend using a piggy jig. What am I talking about?